Afternoon, all. Thought I'd do this. I am actually home early from work because I jacked up my back falling off a stage. So I'm leaning on some ice. Anyway, here's our Apollo. And gosh, where to start? Here's the little base it comes with, and here's the little guy to give you kind of a sense of scale on it. What were these, 36 stories? It's fascinating that it burned each one of these engines down here burned 15 tons of fuel a second. And then they also had to oscillate or spin at 2,000 revolutions per second. Yeah, the more you think about this, 10 million moving parts, even 1% failure. Oh. And yeah, so I have always been of the belief that we did not make it to the moon, that it was in fact a huge hoax, until I saw the photos that China's probe from last year released of our landing site. So I don't know. I don't know if we made it past the Van Allen belt or not. What it would take in lead wouldn't even be able to get lifted off the ground. But they're obviously planning a trip to Mars, so they've got something. Russia said that they were going to make the Obama administration come clean about the moon shots, or they would. Obviously, the Russians never made it, and they were 10 years ahead of us. So, I don't know. Anyway, back to the build. I was going to use this white as the final color, but see if I can tighten that up. But first of all, the primer was so thick that the white really didn't cover well. So I'm going to redo it and just use this as a coat of primer. This is an old kit. It's the Revell 144. 144, sorry about that. So it wasn't the one I was thinking of. Of course, I was a kid when I built this. I must have been 9, 10. So it probably seems a whole lot larger to me. So anyway, I'm using the white now as a primer because it's a dog of a kit. Well, I shouldn't say that. Obviously some seam issues, which I puttied and sanded. And then also you can see like a seam in here that needs to be brought together. A couple seams up here that need to be brought together. This is going to be challenging because if you notice there, it's ribbed. So how do you get putty in there and still keep the ribbing? But I found a really cool trick that works. Go ahead and use the Tamiya putty. And as soon as you fill in the crack, use a wet rag and wipe it off. Wipe off the excess. And it does a great job. And then just lightly sand it down. So that's actually smooth the silk through here. And then I'll hit it again with all that white paint over there. The other challenge to this model, because really we're talking, what, 50 parts, if that, is the paint job. Notice the black and white. Well, there was really no reason or rhyme to why it was black and white. It's just that Werner von Braun and his German scientists did it to the V2s when they were using them against Britain and just decided to keep it. It was a way for them to track kind of the velocity and the track of and if it rotated and rolled right. If they got their delta V or speed correct. Anyway, the problem with that is, see that ribbing? Well, if you're painting in there, it will bleed right through those. Use them as a channel, and you'll have bleeding dropping horizontally. The trick I found, thanks to building hold on, don't get sick, the Enterprise up here, is to use this product. And it is a stretchable, bendable, curvable, pliable tape. Let me see, it's made by Commercial Electric. I got it at Walmart. Dirt cheap, too. And so what happens is you can push it right down to those little grooves. And if you don't believe me, how's that? Not too shabby. So I think we'll get a pretty good paint job out of it. That's really the toughest part, that and the seams. And then, of course, each stage has its own little fun stuff involved. Then, I am not going to use this base. I'm going to go sideways on you, don't get sick. Yeah, whoopee, huh? So, I am using Edward Arts LUT, or Launch Umbilical Tower, which will tower over the model. It's going to take up a lot more space. As you can see, I'm a little, in my man cubby hole here, a little tight for space. This would have fit right there in the corner on that base. But now, with the launch tower, I'm not really sure. You can't move the Husker helmet. I mean, my God, that's sacrilege. Could put it down here, but then we have little kids. around the house. And then we, of course, have this monster, which is the 1296 Constitution, which we'll be doing much, much later. So I'm kind of pushed for space around here. Anyway, so I like the kit. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to revisit all the history. I was fascinated by Apollo. They went off in the late 60s. I was born in 62, so I was a 7, 8, 9-year-old. I thought it was fascinating. Had all the models back then, but I swear it was 1 to 96, so the thing was taller than I was. That tells you how long I've been doing models. I took a 30-year sabbatical, and the whole industry changed with the advent of the internet and photo etched. There aren't a lot of aftermarket parts for this. In fact, I don't think there are any. I looked. But anyway, that's kind of where we are. So today, maybe, since I jacked up my back, I may not do anything. I think I'll goof off on my computer, and then this weekend I'll sand this puppy up. Anyway, thought I'd give you an update. Talk to you guys soon.